Human Services to order at 6:30. We have Councilor Waterman and Councilor Blair. We have two people up. First, we're going to bring up Tanya Oliveira. She is for Council on Aging and Cultural Council.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I don't know how to start this. This is my first time ever doing
Name and address, please, and then just go on to your reading or however you want to handle it.
Sure. My name is Tanya Oliveira. I am at 623 Pleasant Street, and I would like to be a part of the Cultural Council and the Council on Aging. I feel as though it is important for I feel that it's important as a individual that lives within the city to engage with the community. I believe that my 17 years experience at Boston Medical Center has equipped me with a diverse set of skills that are suitable for the Cultural Council. I have a background in system implementation, application, integration, and healthcare finance. I feel like these skills have definitely honed in my project management skills, system design expertise, as well as troubleshooting and resolving complex issues. In addition, I am a first-generation Haitian American. And I feel as though this will enable me to be able to connect with a variety of audiences and can assist with fostering positive relationships within the community. There's several questions here, so I don't know if I'm just supposed to read off.
You can read them off if you like, and that's completely fine if you're comfortable with that.
Sure. So the next question kind of asked me, why do I feel that I would be a good candidate on the Council for Aging? I feel that I have the confidence with my experience as a managed care team coordinator and an EPIC analyst, which is an IT analyst for Boston Medical Center, has allowed me to gain organizational and team leadership skills that align with the Council on Aging. I actually met with Kelly today, and she kind of gave me a walkthrough of the facility and what the Council on Aging would entail, and how I would kind of be a bridge, an advisor for different aspects. And I just feel it's important to engage with and I'm not reading anymore. This is making me nervous.
Not a problem. Whatever you're comfortable with.
I feel as though what's important, especially with the seniors within the community, is that they begin, as you get older, you begin to, friends and family members begin to pass away, and there's a moment where they may start to feel lonely and not have that engagement with people because they are kind of secluded or isolated in their environment. And I feel as though it's important for the younger generation, especially myself, to be able to understand the older generation, what they went through, the life experiences that they have, so that I'm able to implement those same things within the community and within my own personal relationships with my family and friends, so that I can continue on with those things that are kind of legacy. I don't want to sound like it's reading this kind of makes it feel very formal to me, and I feel like this is an informal type of service. I work in healthcare. I work with people all day, every day, and the most important thing, because when people come into hospitals, no one comes into a hospital because they want to be there unless they're pregnant. That's really the only reason why people come into the hospital. And so during my 17 years within that hospital setting, I've experienced many different communities, different diversity, because Boston Medical Center is very diverse, and I feel like it gave me it gave me my footing in order to know how to engage with different communities, different types of people, and bring them together. I am able to talk to anybody in any room, any environment. And I feel as though if you don't have within your community individuals that are actually representing the community, it kind of pigeonholes the growth of the community to not see everyone in places in positions of power and change. If you don't see people that look like you, it's hard for you to want to come out and engage with those individuals that are sitting in front of you. It is kind of like standing on this side. I could see how it could be, what's the right word? Intimidating to stand in front of you all and just talk, because I don't know what this environment brings, but I do know that I'm capable to move within it and thrive within it and bring all that I have as an individual to the board. So I know that being engaging within those two communities will just be the beginning of things for me. It's opening a door that I didn't even know that it was possible for me to have. And in a way, it's kind of changing what I thought that I would want to be doing at this age. It's kind of shaping I'm walking into a new purpose, and I believe that this is the first step in that purpose, and it is delivering myself to my community. So that's really why I want to engage in the Council for Aging, to make sure that the individuals that are older have somebody to still talk to, see a different face, kind of bring new and different initiatives to the community that maybe were not thought of before. And I also know that there is a large emerging community, Haitian community that's coming into Attleboro, especially the migrants that have been displaced, and they're all throughout Massachusetts, but there are a large number of them that are inside of Attleboro that I feel as though I would be able to help them by representing them, being able to relate to them, engage with them, and speak to their needs when and if they encounter somebody that that doesn't understand what they're trying to say because of those language barriers. So.
Well, I appreciate it very much. I mean, you, at such a young age, you got a wealth of experience and knowledge, and it's incredible that you're going to be able to help in two different categories, and your hospital experience is going to be fantastic, in the Council on Aging and stuff, and you're going to be able to bring a whole new, added, bonus to that department, and it's great, and I think you're going to be fantastic, and I applaud you for stepping up, and helping out and doing all this, and so thank you very much. Councilor Blair, and then we'll get the we'll get Councilor Waterman, and then we'll get you. Okay. Thank you. You're welcome. So, Councilor Blair.
I just thank you for volunteering. It is a diverse community. And you're talking about old people. Were you looking at me directly?
No.
I am the oldest one on this council, but that's all right. It's admirable for you, and I think the experience for you will be just as rewarding as they will feel, and that's a great place over there. You'll do well.
Thank you.
Councilor.
And you weren't staring at me, right?
I was not. I was actually staring at him.
Oh, okay.
Councilor Waterman.
Thank you so much for both of these thrusts that you're going into, but especially the Council on Aging. I'm going to ask you a question which you may or may not feel like you can answer. What surprised you the most today when you did your tour through the Council on Aging?
What surprised me the most was that. Do you want me to be honest?
No,
or do you want me to be?
I
I felt that it was not vibrant enough. Like, it was very. There was nothing wrong with it, right?
Sure.
And maybe I just came on a day that was more quiet. They were about to play bingo, so I don't know. I might have missed out on all of the hurrah, because, you know, bingo's a good time, because I enjoy bingo as well. I think that maybe color, like, it was kind of monotone. It was a very, you know, it's not enough color. And I'm a bright person, so I like to see colors. And I think that was one of the things that was missing.
See, the reason I asked the question is I believe that you will bring fresh perspectives to the Council on Aging, which is always good, in my opinion. You're also walking in at a time where there's going to be a whole lot of change.
Yep.
And, you know, the council willing, we're going to be having a new senior center
Yep.
during your time there.
Yep.
And you'll be right in there at the base of it.
Yep. They did explain that the country club is the proposed location, which I think is a great location. I'm also volunteer. I know it sounds like I'm on a many hats right now, but as a mother, I already wear many hats. So, I mean, that job alone is the most important job that you could ever have, because you're rearing up individuals within the community and within the world, like we are. You know, we're kind of we're everything. But the location. So I was also in a call with the for the cultural district that they're proposing. I don't know if you guys have heard about that yet, but it's a cultural district with Caitlin. She is the engagement manager. So I also have met with her and discussed some of the ideas and thoughts that I had that would be beneficial, and just saying that it would be good if they're going to have this cultural district to include the senior center as one of those staple points in Attleboro, because it will be like you'll be able to walk that during the trails and just the different areas. It would be a highlighted location to kind of bring more people in as a tourist location.
Right.
Thank you.
Council Holmes.
Thank you. This is wonderful. You're very ambitious here. The only, I just am concerned because do you know what days they both meet, the Cultural Council and the Council on, like, is that going to overlap in terms of the days?
So one is on Monday, which is I believe it's the third Monday of every month, and then the cultural council, I think they're supposed to meet on the 19th next week or the 20th, but I think they might be canceling the meeting. But I don't remember, one of them's the third Monday of every month, and then the other one's like on a Tuesday.
Okay.
So I don't think that they'll clash.
All right.
Yeah,
I could be wrong with the dates, but I think that it's a Monday and Tuesday.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Council Dolan.
How long have you lived in Attleboro?
This will be going on year 4.
Oh, okay, so you haven't been here that long.
No.
Well, we appreciate you stepping up and being willing to volunteer, especially for 2 at once. So I wish you luck, and I think that you might bring the brightness that they need, so
Thank you.
we appreciate it.
I actually didn't. I put actually like 5. I didn't. Again, this is my first time doing this, so I just put 5 different councils that I thought that would work well for me, that I would be able to contribute the most to. And I don't know if the mayor gave any of you my cover letter, but I wrote a very long cover letter. It was almost like an essay. Explaining everything that I felt as though I brought to the table and why, and I hand-delivered it. I didn't do it online. I felt like it was more important for me to come into the office and give my application with my resume and my cover letter. In that way, I'm kind of old school, because I feel like it's more important for them to see for that person to see my face and know that I'm dedicated to what it is that I'm doing. And the mayor actually called me the next day, and after speaking with her, she suggested that she thought that I would be good for these 2 councils. So that's why I am going forward with it, because she believed that I would be good in them, so.
Good, well, we appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much, and you'll certainly be hearing from us soon.
Thank you very much
Awesome.
for
Thanks
the
for your
time.
Tanya, I appreciate you coming down.
Thank you.
Thomas Moran? Thomas is going for the Attleboro Housing Authority.
All right, good evening. My name is Tom Moran. I have an address at 78 Lincoln Ave here in Attleboro. I am a lifelong resident of Attleboro. I previously served on the planning board from February 2021 to the summer of 2022. I stepped down just because I'm an attorney here in Attleboro at Coogan Smith, and just some of the conflicts I was running into, it just required me to step down. Almost the day that I did step down, when I emailed Mayor Haro, I already regretted it. I wanted to get back in, I wanted to contribute, and I missed just being a participant in the conversation. So as I said, I sat down with Paul about a month ago, and the legal side, I think I could bring a lot to the Housing Authority, whether it's experience in property law, transactional law, contracts, employment. So I wouldn't want to get involved if I couldn't bring something to the table, and I feel like I really could in this case. As I said, I'm a lifelong resident of Attleboro. My family has a business downtown. I feel like it's like my second home. So I feel like I have real like a heartbeat on the city, and what I want is just to be able to help and contribute in some small way. That's my
Well, I
that's my
appreciate it.
pitch. Yeah.
So obviously, thank you for coming down. See, the family business is a gas station, right? No, I'm kidding.
He's not too bright.
I got it.
Well, it fills you up.
But no, thanks, I appreciate it.
Sure.
And obviously, you're going to be a great addition for the Housing Authority. So, Council Blair.
Like I spoke to you earlier, it's good to see a Moran get involved.
Appreciate it.
I go back a long way with the Moran family. A long way.
How long?
His grandfather, about 81 years. Give or take a couple weeks. Right? But it's good to have you get involved, because just your name brings something to whatever you serve on.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I
It
do.
does.
Yeah.
It really does.
Thank you.
Council Waterman.
Well, Tom, I'm actually thrilled that you're choosing the Housing Authority. It is such an essential piece of our community. And
Completely agree.
there's so many people that are in need.
Indeed. Yep.
And there's backlogs, and there's always been. And I hear every week, I hear about people who wish they could, you just can't. Maybe there'll be some more building going on during your time.
Sure. Sure.
And I think it's high time that happens, personally.
Absolutely.
And your skills will come in beautifully.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, well, thanks. So you've been through this before, but, we'll vote it out today. We'll vote it out of council next week, and then you'll get a letter to come on down and get sworn in at your convenience, and everything will be great. Did you have anything else? No? Okay, awesome. Well, thanks, Tom. I appreciate it very
See you,
much.
everybody.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
All right. Okay, from the docket of December 19th, 2023, the mayor respectfully submits for confirmation by your honorable body the appointment of Thomas Moran, 78 Lincoln Ave, to fill an expired term of the Attleboro Housing Authority, term to expire February 2029.
Second.
Thank you, sir. And obviously, we just heard from Mr. Moran, and it's gonna be obviously it's gonna be a great addition. Any questions, comments, concerns? No?
Great choice.
Yeah, absolutely. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. For the docket of December 19, 2023, Mayor respectfully submits for confirmation by honorable body the appointment of Tanya Oliveira, 623 Pleasant Street, to fill an unexpired term on the Cultural Council, term to expire February 2025.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Blair. Obviously, this goes for the Council on Aging and Cultural Council. She's just going to be I think she's going to do a lot of things for the city, and anything she decides that she wants to do, and all her experience that she's had has been absolutely fantastic, and we're very lucky to have her, on 2 councils, and who knows what more. So, any questions? All right. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 3-0. For the docket of December 19th, 2020, oh, wait a minute, nope, sorry, skipping on. From the docket of December 19th, 2023, Mayor respectfully submits for confirmation by honorable body the appointment of Tanya Oliveira, Pleasant Street, to fill an unexpired term on the Council on Aging, term to expire February 2026.
Second.
All right, thank you, Council Waterman. All right, so obviously, as we just discussed, any questions, comments, concerns? Oh, Councilor Holmes.
I know, I think it's wonderful. I'm reluctant because I feel like we've had so many people that have resigned from different commissions and councils and committees. I hope it is successful, basically. It is a lot to serve in 2 different areas, so to just be mindful of that. That's my only concern. I know there was a time, I feel like every mayor's communication, there was like 4 different people resigning, and so I'm just hoping that it's successful.
I am completely confident. One, she's a mom, and that tells a lot on how someone can get a lot of things done. So I'm excited. I think she's going to be great. Councilor Blair.
I think with the new administration and the new outlook, I don't think you're going to see the resignations we've seen the last 4 years or so.
Okay.
I'm confident that people coming forward now to serve are really coming forward because they want to serve. So hopefully we don't see the resignations we've seen in the past.
Yeah, I completely agree. All right.
Michael.
President Delacio.
To Council Holmes, I think you bring up a really good point. I think it is a lot of work. There was a time I was a member of the Attleboro Redevelopment Authority as well as a police commissioner. It's a lot of work, but I think if the meetings are on 2 different times, I think it's the right point to raise. I'm very cautiously optimistic that, we're starting to see different faces come down, which I think is great. I was very impressed with Tanya. I think she'll do a good job. She'll bring a lot of energy to both. But Tanya's still here. Tanya, it's a lot of work. Sometimes it's okay to, but just take it all in stride.
Yep, I'm not a quitter, so.
All right, thank you. Thank you, President Delacio.
Diana, good point.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 3-0. From the docket of December 19, 2023, the city and the Dispatchers Association were able to reach an agreement for additional 2-year contract from July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2025. Therefore, I entertain a motion to approve the following transfers. $6,000 from account 1124100-578350, Citywide Reserve Fund Labor Negotiations, to account 12101-000-511-000, Police Salary and Wages Full-Time. $300 from account 1124100-578-350, Citywide Reserve Fund Labor Negotiations, to account 12101-000-515-010, Police Holidays. $3,150 from account 1124100-578-350, Citywide Reserve Fund for Labor Negotiations, to account 12101-000-513-001, Police Lump Sum Retro. $1,000 from account 1124100-578-350, Citywide Reserve Fund Labor Negotiations, to 1201000-513-021, Police Dispatch Overtime. $5,200 from account 1124100-578-350, Citywide Reserve Fund Labor Negotiations, to account 1220100-511-000, Fire Salary and Wages Full-Time. $250 from account 1124100-578-350, Citywide Reserve Fund Labor Negotiations, to account 1220100-515-010, Fire Holidays. $2,800 from account 1124100-578-350, Citywide Reserve Fund Labor Negotiations, to account 1220100-513-001, Fire Lump Sum Retro. $1,300 from account 1124100-578-350, Citywide Reserve Fund Labor Negotiations, to 1220100-513-021, Fire Dispatch Overtime.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Waterman. I think this is very good. It's good that we got this done. I think this is great for the city. I think we got happy people on both sides, and It's good to get this taken care of. Any questions? All right, seeing none. All those in favor? Aye, motion passes 3-0. That's all for Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee, and I call for adjournment at 6:55. All those in favor, oh, can I get a second?
Second.
Second, Council Waterman, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. We are adjourned at 6:55.
Council Waterman?
We'll begin, okay. License Committee will start at 6:55. And we have a number of new licenses that we're looking at here. From the docket of December 19th, 2023, I would entertain a motion to approve the Class 2 license renewal application from Daniel Martinez, DBA R&D Auto Sales, 116 Dickens Street with 5 customer parking spaces and 8 display spaces.
Second.
Thank you. We got to know Dan fairly well a couple of years ago. I was extremely pleased. The whole operation was in good order, in my opinion. The parking was fine. Everything was marked in the right place, and it was very clean. I liked that. He told me business is doing pretty well. He's working hard at it. Do I have any concerns or questions? No. That is really good to see. R&D, I think, and I think much of it is due to you, Counselor. You did a lot of good work with him. So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And so now from the docket of December 19th, 2023. I entertain a motion to approve an automatic amusement license renewal application from the Portuguese American Club, 65 Prairie Avenue, for 1 pool table and 1 jukebox.
Second.
Thank you. And really no issues here. This is something that they maintain every single year. Any questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, I say too. Pass 3-0. And from the docket of December 19th, 2023, I entertain a motion to approve an automatic amusement license renewal application from CEC Entertainment, LLC, DBA Chuck E. Cheese, 287 Washington Street, for 64 video game machines.
Second.
Thank you. Well, it counted them all. They had 64. It was absolutely correct. And they have a very busy place going on in Chuck E. Cheese. It's clean. Looked like a positive experience. Any questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And I say aye, pass 3-0. And I would also entertain from the docket of December 19th, 2023, a motion to approve an automatic amusement license renewal application from South Attleboro Post 312, Inc., 437 Newport Ave, for 1 pool table and 1 jukebox.
Second.
Thank you. And really no comment. This goes on every single year, and they operate a nice establishment. Any questions, concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass 3-0. And from the docket of December 19th, 2023, I entertain a motion to approve a Class 2 license renewal application for Mike Ziarko, DBA Mike's Automotive, 801 South Main Street, with 10 customer parking spaces and 15 display spaces.
Second.
Thank you. Just had a nice talk with Mike. He's had a good year. He's only selling 1 car at this time, but he has the space to expand to the 10 spots, was it? Yes. And 15 display. He just doesn't have that. He's not selling that right now, but he will increase it, he said. Any thoughts, questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's 3-0. On the docket of December 19th, 2023, I entertain a motion to approve a Class 2 license renewal application from County Auto Sales and Service, Inc., 42 County Street, with 10 customer parking spaces and 28 display spaces.
Second.
Thank you. And again, everything was in order. Well, let me say a word about this. The owner is not selling yet. He's going to reopen the business at Lower County. Oh, it's Upper County, yeah. He said in January. He had thought that that building was going to be sold, and it never happened. And so he wants to begin working again after New Year's. And I believe he will dive right into that and do a good job. He is working by himself in the beginning of this process. I would personally like to support him in getting that business going again. Any questions? Thank you. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. And that is all the business that we have this evening. I would call for an adjournment.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 7:01.
I'd like to call Public Works to order at 7:01. I have one motion from the docket of November 21st, 2023. I entertain a motion to approve the following loan order. Ordered that $500,000 is appropriated for the labor, materials, and equipment necessary for the rehabilitation of existing sewers, including but not limited to the following: preparatory cleaning for existing sewers, CCTV inspection, installation of cured in-place pipe lining, 30-inch sewers, and all miscellaneous work and cleanup as specified or required to complete the work off of Tiffany Street, collectively the project, including the payment of all costs incidental or related thereto, that to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the mayor, is authorized to borrow $500,000 under Section 8.5 of Chapter 44 of the general laws or any other enabling authority, and that the mayor is authorized to take any other action necessary or convenient to carry out this project.
Second.
Peter?
I know I voiced a concern to you about the finances of this project. I'm not particularly in favor of bonding every time you turn around. We have quite a bit of free cash. I don't know what the legal status is using some of that, or what kind of bond are we going to get? Short-term, long-term? I don't think there's enough information for me personally. I know I probably won't be here to vote on it, unless you bring it out next week.
Yeah, I'll bring it out next week.
But personally, I like to see it paid for, or at least over a short period of time. You start bonding for $500,000 projects, you're paying a lot of interest. The interest rate has gone up. We do have money in free cash. There must be some money in capital improvements that could be used, I think. I'm just not in favor of bonding for this. It's not a long-term enough project to be bonding $500,000 for. Something that size, I think, should be paid out of the regular budget, or at least short-term, and we should know that.
So I can find out what the term will be on the loan. And as far as paying it out of free cash, as we all know, that we discussed, that this is the enterprise fund. So it's not the city's practice to pay for any projects out of the city's budget or free cash for an enterprise fund project.
Still Attleboro, Laura.
I understand that. I mean, of course. I mean, we all feel the same way. It's still Attleboro, but that's not what we do. That's not the practice. I mean, we've never given the enterprise fund money from the city's,
They get in trouble, we're liable for that.
but I can, if you tell me exactly what questions you have for Laura Gignac, I'll get those answers to you by next week. So if you just want to know if it's long-term or short-term, I can certainly find that out. But as
That would be important, but I'm not in favor of it, Laura,
Okay.
so.
well, it's an important project, so,
Of course it's important.
I'll be in-
It's all important projects we have out there. I'm not belittling the project in any fashion or form. It's just the way, I don't think it should be financed bonded, $500,000 project. Somehow that should be fit in their budget and, you know,
well, I mean, as we've seen most recently, that the enterprise fund doesn't have a ton of money to be forking over for a $500,000 project. We talked about this in the past, few meetings. So again, I can find out if it's long-term or short-term, and if there's any other questions you have.
now, basically, I'd like to know how it's gonna be paid for. I know it's bonded, but how do they intend to pay it? Short-term borrowing stretch it out for 4 or 5 years maybe or something, but.
Right. I mean, Laura, we've all experienced Laura Gignac, and we all know how smart she is. And,
Oh, I'm
and-
not questioning, don't.
No, I'm not saying you're questioning her. I'm just saying I know that she'll do the right thing for the right amount of time, for the right amount of money. I will absolutely get those answers for you before we vote it out. I do
All right.
intend on bringing it out next week, but I'll get that for you. If you have anything further, though, just send it to Virginia, and I'll get the answers for you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I was just say, we'll vote it out of committee and then
Yeah.
get the answers and then we'll decide in council.
No problem. Council Conti?
Thank you, Council. I'm not on the committee, but I do have a comment that I think is going to help you with that. What you want to know is what is the expected life of the glass-lined piping that they're lining it with. I believe it exceeds the expected life of the original piping. So if the original piping had an expected life of 120 years, this glass lining may have an expected life of 250 years, which means no matter what bonding the treasurer goes to, the lining will be in service long after the bonding is paid off.
Right.
And that concludes my comments.
Right, and I agree with that, and typically, I know we've been told from other department heads regarding bonding and such, that it's usually more of a long-term bonding, if it's a long-term project, that's gonna outlive all of us and be decades, but the $500,000 isn't millions of dollars, right? So, again, I'll reach out to Laura Gignac and find out what the term is, if she's
And also
decided.
find out what the expected life is for the glass lining.
Yeah, I can talk to Tom about that. Does anybody else have any
If
Oh,
I
I'm
may-
sorry.
If I may just interject, the issue is the remaining useful life of the existing piping is limited. So if this glass lining is not installed, there's going to be a disaster coming quickly, soon. So that also plays into a factor. So it's not only the expected life of the glass lining, it's the remaining useful life of the existing piping. Thank you.
Agree, and I have no doubt that there's a reason why, we're doing this inspection and repairs now. As we know that there have been water main breaks and there have been issues with our aging infrastructure, and if we can just get one more project under our belt that's complete, then I think everybody would be happy with that. President Delicio?
Thank you. So, part of the situation we're in right now is I think Councilor Blair's 100% right. Interest rates are going through the roof. You're 100% right. Laura Gignac has done a fantastic job of weighing this. The biggest issue I have is here's a $500,000 project and nobody came down for the public hearing. The department head should have been down here talking to us about that. There was nobody here. I think a lot of these questions I'm not laying judgment necessarily, kinda, but it wasn't here. I think there's questions that need to be answered. It is a $500,000 project in a time where if you're looking at long-range economic forecasts, they're looking a little bleak. I don't think that, I don't think paying for this out of free cash necessarily makes sense, but I understand what Council Blair is saying. We need to limit some of the exposure from an interest rate perspective, but I think that the free cash needs to be used to start to plan for the future. I think Council Conti's correct when he talks about the vital nature of this project, but I would like to hear from Tom. I've got a few questions that I'll send through to Tom myself, but I think we need to figure out more about this project.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
And I agree. I don't think free cash is an option here because historically we've never done that. And also in defense of Tom, he was ill for a while. So he was out for a smidge. But again,
His assistant,
I'm sorry?
his number 2 could have come.
Yeah, he could have. But yes, please get those to Virginia so I can reach out to Tom and those questions, if there's anything additional other than the expected life and the short-term, long-term bonding. Does anybody else have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
I'd like to call for an adjournment at, motion passes. I'd like to call for an adjournment at 7:11.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
I'd like to call the Finance Committee meeting to order at 7:11. Sitting on this committee is myself, Councilor Cobus, who is absent, and Councilor Reynolds, who's absent. That's our last president, Delicio, to join me, so we have a quorum. I have just one issue to bring before the committee tonight. From the docket of December 19, 2023, I entertain a motion to approve the transfer of $11,000 from account 1124100-578300 citywide reserve fund for transfer to account 1111100-511000 city council salary and wages full-time.
Second.
Thank you, Council Delicio. Hard to imagine that anyone speak against this motion. And it's likely to be the last motion of my career as a councilor. So I wish it was a bigger number. You all know that. And I fought for a bigger number. And I do think that this is not only warranted, I think it's late, 1 years ago. And I hope that it does something to improve the caliber of people that are interested in the job. It's a thankless job as it is. And that concludes my comments. Does anyone else have anything to add? Yes, Councilor Bennett.
Just one comment. I'm certain what I heard was not what you intended there, but I would say the caliber of the counselors that I have served with have been excellent, and in recent years have also been excellent. I also want to say that I think this is going in the absolute right direction. This correction is well overdue, if not a decade overdue. And so I think the time is now to make sure that we see this through and that we get this in the right place. What this is going to do is ensure that the future of the council continues to draw that talent and that caliber of people to serve. Thank you.
That's what I meant to say. If I was an attorney, maybe I would have said it. Yes, Councilor Blair.
I stated this before, I don't think money or salary should be the main purpose somebody's willing to serve, especially at this level. It's for the love of Attleboro. It should be your main purpose in serving on this council. I know things get expensive and everything else has gone up, but don't forget, most of us, I believe most, I don't know, take advantage of the insurance, the health insurance. Big nut, Councilor Conti, big nut, about 18 grand. And to afford this type of policy on your own, you're talking $23,000, $24,000. So that's part of the compensation we get. let the people at home know that it isn't a thankless job. I'm sure we all get thanked at one point in time from a constituent that says thank you. They say it every time they go to the polls when they check your name off. So it's not a thankless job for the most part. I've had a lot of good experiences myself, and I'm sure you have, Mr. Conti. So it's not a thankless job. And it's not that we've worked for nothing either, Richard. The insurance factor alone is tremendous. Tremendous. So I disagree with you on that, Richard. Probably the last time I get a shot to disagree with you.
Won't be a proper night without it. Go ahead, Councilor Angelo.
Thank you, Councilor Conti. I'm pretty confident I can speak for almost everybody in saying that I think everybody is here because they care about the city and they care about the citizens of Attleboro. So I'm pretty confident everybody is in agreement with that. What I can tell you is, because I had to go through all the research and all this, bringing this out and everything, and so at some point, once the city has continued with their study of all the positions and we're going to know where the mayor is going to be, so that no future councils will have to endure some of what kind of went on when going through this, and hopefully at some point the salary will be tied into the mayor, and so that'll end it, and it'll just happen automatically, or it doesn't happen, but it'll be taken care of, and we won't have to worry about that. And but like I said again, I understand completely where Councilor Blair's coming from, and I understand exactly the point that you were trying to make, and respect it, and obviously Councilor Bennett, and but I think we have a great group here, and we're losing some really good people, but I don't think you guys are going to go too far. So
I served with a lot of great people on this council over the last 24 years, and a lot of them I call my friends, for the most part. And I don't think any of them were here for the financial benefits. I'm sure a lot of us took advantage of the insurance. I, for one, did. Right? But I was never ashamed to tell people that. So the job isn't minuscule financially now.
Councilor Delicio.
Thank you. Just so we don't lose sight of what this motion is, we've already had this discussion months ago. The will of the council was this passed.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that the three that are leaving are the ones fighting the hardest for this, one way or another. I think it speaks to the level of character we have on this council. So personally, I thank the three of you. But this motion tonight is just to fund a measure that we've already approved.
But it's so much fun talking about it.
Well, I think we're gonna miss the Rick and Peter back and forth, you know?
No, you're not.
Oh, yeah, we will. At least it's not you and me anymore, Rick.
So is there any further comments?
No, sir.
Seeing none, I'll call the motion in order. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. That completes the business that the Finance Committee has to bring before the committee tonight. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's in order. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I declare the Finance Committee adjourned at 7:18.
Thank you.
I call Transportation and Traffic Committee to order at 7:18. First motion this evening, from the docket of December 5th, 2023, I entertain a motion to amend Section 10-4.11 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, isolated stop signs, to add northbound drivers on Norgate Road at Commonwealth Avenue.
Second.
Thank you. Public hearing was closed last week. Thank you, Councilor Dolan, for stepping in and closing that. No one came to speak for or against for this particular motion, but this one came through originally through the mayor's office and through the Traffic Study Commission, which recommended that we put a stop sign here. The intersection is kind of an odd intersection, and Attleboro Police looked at it and said, yeah, you know, it makes a lot of sense to have it here. I think this one's a no-brainer. So it just closes the loop, something that was left wide open. So what's happening is cars are just going through this T intersection without stopping, so it's creating a bit of a safety concern for residents in the neighborhood. Are there any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Oh, any opposed? Motion passes. From the docket of October 3rd, 2023, I entertain a motion to amend revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, Section 10-5.2A, prohibited on certain streets as follows. Delete Holman Street, southerly side from Pleasant Street to Brook Street, and add Holman Street, southerly side from Pleasant Street to Forest Street.
Second.
Thank you. This item came in from a bus driver who was having some difficulty getting through the street with cars parked on both sides of the road during the day. A problem, she said, is recent in the last recent couple of years has really started to emerge. Previous to that, I believe a lot more of the off-street parking was being used by the residents in this area, and for some reason, it just hasn't been recently. So hoping to alleviate that concern, traffic study did look at this as well as Attleboro Police. They went out to the site at different times of day and did notice the problem and said it was a bit narrow, even getting regular cars through there or a larger SUV. So this raises concerns for our emergency vehicles as well. So hopefully by doing this, what we're doing is just extending the no parking that already exists on one side of the street all the way down so it covers the entire length of the road. Are there any questions or comments? No. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And the last motion for this evening, I entertain a motion to strike the following from the docket of February 21st, 2023. Referred the following for study and recommendation to Traffic Study Committee and the Traffic Study Commission to evaluate current layout, safety signage, and conditions of crosswalks on Oak Hill Ave near Hyman Fine School.
Second.
Thank you. The only reason that I am moving to strike this particular motion is because we have another motion pending, or another motion that's been brought in, and a referral to Traffic Study Commission to look at all the crosswalks in the city of Attleboro. This has been a persistent issue as long as I've been on the council, and it's one of the items I get the most calls about. The issues at this particular intersection, and while new signage has been installed, the high visibility signage has been put in, and I hear it's a little bit better. Same thing occurred on Locust Street with a very similar problem, similar layout issues. We've got locations of crosswalks being a little funky, kind of around bends that are hard to see, and the speeds of traffic passing through these areas are a problem. I don't think it's unique to this particular crosswalk. And I think a study of all of the crosswalks is something that's probably overdue to make sure that we're looking at this and really taking the time and care to make sure these are placed properly. So it's really not to eliminate the problem, but to understand that this particular one has been addressed as best we can for now, and hoping that this gets swept into a larger study. Yes, any questions or comments?
Yes.
Councilor Dolan.
Please, thanks. I agree with the larger study of all the crosswalks through the entire city, but this one in particular, I'm not sure if I'd be willing to wait for that other study, because this one's a real problem, and this one, I live off Oak Hill, and I know how fast people drive on this street, and I know how often I drive a lot, and how often people do not stop at crosswalks, even the ones with the lights that we have. It makes me nuts. So, while I agree with, and I'll agree to strike this, but I can't, I might bring it back in, because I've gotten recent complaints in this area, and I actually recently stopped for somebody at the crosswalk where it was a family, where half the family was on one side and the other half didn't make it across and was on the other side. So, I'm in favor of striking it, but I don't know if I'll wait for that big study to come down to not submit this again.
Okay, well, I mean, so I could go either way. I didn't want to have anything that's redundant on here, but I'm happy to leave it. I don't think it would do any harm to leave it on.
Completely up to you. It's your committee. You do whatever you see fit, but this particular area is a problem.
Yeah, it certainly is.
And living there and knowing how fast people drive on this road, and how people struggle to get across the street, I don't think I would want to wait for that larger study, because that larger study could take quite some time.
It does, and there were bigger problems than just the signage, higher visibility signage.
It's not, and it's not ADA compliant as well.
We're going to run into that sort of question about ADA compliance because there are no sidewalks, and that's the case for several of these.
Well, you're right, and so recently I looked into this and I spoke to Mike Tyler about it, and they have all the documents, they have all the funding requests and everything for this area to make it ADA compliant, paint the crosswalk and put an RRFB up there. And it's not that high.
Sure.
So,
So I wonder if the better play then is to bring in a new motion that maybe specifically has a proposal attached to it. Because this one was referred to a traffic study, but it was sort of general, so there wasn't
Right.
much they could do.
so if I was to submit it, I would submit it to make it ADA compliant and put an RRFB up. So I'm happy to support striking it, but I just wanted to comment that I don't really want to wait for the bigger, because it could take some time. But thank you.
Understood, absolutely. Yes.
Thank you,
Councilor
Councilor Bennett. I just, I agree with Councilor Dolan. I've seen her drive, and so we really, no, I'm kidding. No, I agree with Councilor Dolan, because obviously I live in that area too as well, so I think that's very important, and I fully agree with her on that. And then just wanted to add in, so that the latest one that I discussed with you on Pass and Smith, that if that just, that's fine to get added into this, the new study, but as long as that gets, put into that too as well.
Sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. Yes, President Lucio.
Thank you. So I guess the concern I have is if you strike it, if we don't strike it, the motion in front of us isn't about the work. The motion is to evaluate. Sounds like Councilor Dolan, as the ward councilor, has already evaluated it and isn't thrilled. The question is it with the Traffic Study Commission already?
They have now, it's now off of their docket because they did what they felt they could do based
Okay.
on the recommendations at the time. But DPW did say they would look at it more closely if we had a more specific proposal.
So I think striking this makes sense, and I think Councilor Dolan, what you're talking about also makes sense. And I think that there's an opportunity to speak with Mike Tyler, the superintendent of DPW, find out what his thoughts are on this, and to find out, is there a project already in the works somewhere? Is this something that we can start to plan for? So that would be my suggestion.
Can I just...
And I've never seen Councilor Dolan drive.
I'm an excellent driver.
Go ahead.
So I literally spoke to Mike Tyler about this today, and I spoke to him about last week. I guess because there have been so many complaints in this area over the years, and nothing's really been done, because it's not ADA compliant. So I asked him, what would we have to do to get it ADA compliant? He explained it to me. The sidewalks on both sides, they don't need to be, all down Oak Hill and cost us $1 million. There is a minimum of sidewalks, so on and so forth. So they could do the sidewalk, they could paint the crosswalk and put up an RRFB for what I thought was reasonable. So we have discussed it. He has all the paperwork. He has everything. So I'll resubmit it first thing next term with more details, and we'll hopefully get it done.
Wonderful, that sounds great.
So thank you.
Yes, President Lucio.
And I would just ask, is this a Chapter 90 project? And Chapter 90 funds be used. Just accepted 66 streets. Let's take advantage of it.
For 3 miles, no, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
Seriously, the Disability Commission can apply for grants to also help with this. Like, there's grant money out there to assist us, so I think it should be something that we attend to next term for sure. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, I'll just add one more note. I just want to say it really warms my heart to hear all of the very positive comments about getting this done. This has been a sort of a frustrating conversation to go back and forth to say, we need to fix this, but we can't fix it because, and never really coming to a resolution on it. So it would be wonderful to see some of these crosswalks get addressed, especially the ones on Locust and the ones by Hyman Fine, the ones near our schools in particular. I think that's where we start and we work our way out and really review the rest of the city as well. We're talking about our kids walking to school every day. parents afraid to let their kids walk to school, even when they live that close. So that's definitely something we can do for the community to help them. Okay, if there's no further, oh, yes, Councilor Holmes.
I was just gonna say, you've done a great job.
thank you.
Yeah, really appreciate it. Well done.
Thank you. If there's no other comments or questions, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. That concludes the business for Transportation and Traffic Committee for this evening, and we look forward to a meeting at the next appropriate time, folks.
Council Holmes, do you mind canceling for IT
Oh, I'm
and
sorry.
infrastructure?
Did you call for
We
adjournment?
call for an adjournment at
Second.
7:30.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.
Wasn't trying to rush you on your last committee meeting.
IT and Infrastructure Committee are canceled this evening, and I call Zoning and Land Use Committee to order at 7:30. Myself and Councilor Conti this evening. I'm just going to be, I entertain, there's just one motion this evening. Let's see here. From the docket of December 19, 2023, I entertain a motion to call for 6 public hearings on February 6, 2024 for street acceptance, and I will just list the streets. Brigham Hill Road, Teaberry Lane, which is 2 different sections, Pass Farm Road, Jennifer Lee Drive, and Ingle Lane.
Second.
Thank you. This is just calling for the public hearing. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. I will call for an adjournment.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 7:31. Thank you.
Councilor Angelo, would you like to, are you prepared to do city property and claims? Would you like to cancel for this evening?
I'll take care of it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we call to order city property and claims at 7:31. Myself and Council Waterman are present. All right, from the docket of December 19, 2023, I entertain a motion to accept the donation to the Health Department of $950 in gift cards from the Holiday Spirit Committee.
Second.
Thank you, Council Waterman. Obviously, this is a great thing, and thank you to the Holiday Spirit Committee. Any questions?
None.
All right.
It's a great thing.
Yes, absolutely. All right. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. All right. From the docket of December 19, 2023, I entertain a motion to accept $75 of gift cards donated to the Veterans Office from the Holiday Spirit Committee.
Second.
Thank you, Council Waterman. Again, Holiday Spirit Committee is doing a great job, and we thank them for the $75 gift card. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Nope.
All right.
good
All those in
thing.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. And that's all for city property and claims. Call for adjournment.
Second.
Thank you, President Delicio. At 7:33, we are adjourned. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0.
Councilor DeFranco.
I call ordinances, elections, and legislative matters to order at 7:33. Councilors present include myself, Councilor Bennett, Councilor Holmes. Tonight we just have one piece of business, so I would like for our committee to vote on the proposed ordinance change to waive parking fees for seniors at the North Main Street parking lot, better known as the library parking lot. So first, what I'd like to do is propose the motion as it currently exists in the committee minutes. Then I'd like to propose an amendment to that motion and discuss the rationale behind some of those changes and open up discussion on that. So from the docket of February 21st, 2023, I entertain a motion to approve a senior citizen municipal parking fee waiver program be created by amending section 10-7.2 of the revised ordinances of the city of Attleboro as follows: renumbering an existing ordinance and adding B, senior citizen municipal parking fee waiver. 1, parking in the North Main Street parking lot, Attleboro Library lot, shall be free for senior citizens who procure a sticker from the Attleboro Public Library and display same on their motor vehicle, provided, however, that the time limit restriction at that particular metered location shall be obeyed. 2, to be eligible to participate in the program, the individual must be at least 65 years old and a current resident of the city of Attleboro. Each person so eligible shall each be entitled to one such sticker for motor vehicles registered to them with an Attleboro address. A sticker may also be issued for an automobile owned by an eligible spouse. 3, parking stickers may be placed on passenger vehicles only. No other class of motor vehicle is eligible. And 4, this section shall not take effect until July 1st, 2023.
Second.
Thank you. And so next, I'd like to move to amend section 10-7.2B1 and B4 of the proposed motion as follows. So B1 shall read, subject to the annual approval of the municipal council by December 31 for the next calendar year following thereafter. Parking in the North Main Street parking lot, Attleboro Library Lot, may be free or partially discounted for senior citizens who procure a sticker from the Attleboro Public Library and display same on their motor vehicle, provided, however, that the time limit restriction at that particular metered location shall be obeyed. And B4 shall read, this section shall not take effect until July 1st, 2024.
Second.
Thank you. So first of all, I want to thank Mayor DeSimone for initiating this ordinance change while she was on the council, and certainly Councilor Waterman as well. Championing issues that will improve the quality of life for our seniors is a priority of mine. And while admittedly this is not an earth-shattering savings given the current parking rate at the library, I think it is important. It's a token of our appreciation, and after speaking with the library director, I think we should, as much as possible, try to remove perceived obstacles and deterrents for our seniors or really any other groups to utilize the resources at the library. So I'll talk about some of the rationale behind the changes to the amendment. So I'm aware that the Ordinances Committee previously considered the original motion earlier this year, and one concern was the financial impact on the city. So you should have all received some financial information regarding the library lot from the budget director that was forwarded to you from Virginia. So the total revenue estimate for FY24 is between $14,000 and $18,000. So that's what we're looking at. And although I don't have data to support it, I don't think that the majority of this revenue is coming from seniors parking at the library lot. But again, this is only an educated guess at this point since we don't have that data. I think it's probably mostly people doing business at the courthouse and other places adjacent to the library. So with some of the changes that were included in that section 1, I thought it would be in B1, that is, it would be prudent to add discretion for the council to revisit the parking fee waiver every year once we do have that historical revenue information after implementing this program. So we can gauge participation in it, how this program is working, how it's affecting revenues, and so we're not stuck as a council and having to then amend the ordinance again. This is simply something that we can evaluate on a case-by-case basis each year. I crafted the language, the amended language, with the guidance of the city solicitor, and actually that was actually one of his ideas. I think the library is playing a very vital role here. They've offered to administer the parking stickers, and I think that's really half the battle here with this ordinance change. It's not necessarily just the change, but the implementation of it down the road. So the fact that they're willing to do that and take on that administrative burden, I think, is huge. And the Council on Aging director has agreed to help spread the word about the program to help get that out there. So the budget director, the parking office, library director, Council on Aging director, they're all generally in support of the proposal. I've been in touch with all of them, making sure everyone's sort of on the same page here, and I've taken into consideration all of their comments based on their respective roles and feedback that they've offered. So one slight change you'll notice from the copy of the amendment and the actual amendment that I just proposed is the effective date. It says April, I think, in what Virginia distributed. And that was accurate at the time when I was evaluating this language, but actually after talking to the budget director, I changed that back to July 1st. Because we thought it would make more sense to keep that in line with the fiscal calendar. So that was the reason for that change there. So Any questions, comments, concerns? Yes, Councilor Angelo?
Thank you, Councilor Vaz. I like this. I think this is great. This is hopefully the start of a bunch of other items. I think Councilor Conti is champion for a lot of things like that, and so hopefully I'm all for this. I'll fully support this, and I hope, like I said, there'll be more to come for the seniors in this city.
Councilor Bennett?
Thank you. There were a couple of other issues that came up earlier this year when we were first looking at this. And I just wanted to clarify first, before I get into why this might be an issue, will these decals be for the metered spots, or will these be used in the free library spots that have limitations?
So these will be for both.
Okay, so they could be used for either.
Right.
Okay.
But the time limit restriction will still apply. So if you park in like the 30-minute zone,
Sure.
that's still going to be a restriction there.
The reason why I bring that up is because the library has pretty limited parking in that lot as it is. And much of the open spots, if you go at really any time of day, isn't so much in the metered section. It's really along that back wall. And I've heard from a number of seniors that say that parking there is a challenge for them. As they get older, they've informed me that depth perception can be a real challenge. So either backing in or even pulling into these spots, potentially with older cars that may not be equipped with all the sensors that we see now in newer cars, that can be a challenge for them. And many of them have said, I've bumped into it. And so I wanted to make sure that we were opening up the lot in a way that they could use a spot they were comfortable parking in and not being forced to park in the limited library parking that existed. And the other issue is it was brought to my attention that there are or have been historically some leases in place where local businesses are also using portions of the lot and leasing several spaces in that lot. And where the library is also struggling with having available parking for everyone, all patrons, not just seniors, that's something I thought might be ripe for review. Certainly not necessarily something that would hold this up, but I think we'd want to understand where those leases are, what that revenue looks like, how does that play into these revenue numbers that we're seeing, and whether that's something that's looked at periodically to really get an understanding of what those agreements currently look like. So just wanted to raise those for your awareness.
No, and I
Thank you.
appreciate that. And I'll just address both of those points too with the information that I have at this point. So on that first issue, that was something that Amy Reilinger keenly made me aware of up front, is that was a particular issue, is limiting spots for seniors, because we don't want this to end up not getting to that goal of providing flexibility for seniors. So we didn't want to have that unintended effect. But that's why I think there was no restriction on where they could park, is to allow them to park where they felt they would be most comfortable because of those limitations with the lot. So I think that was where we ended up there. On that second issue, I believe, yes, we do have a lease with New England Tire, which is adjacent to the lot there. So I spoke with Mason Lord about that, and he didn't mention any potential conflicts between there and the lot, but you do bring up a good point. So I think it would make sense to just make sure if there are specific spots that are associated with that lease that we're accounting for those as well. So thanks for that. Councilor Holmes.
Thank you. I do support this, but I just have a few questions. The revenue is only related, it's not related to when people are ticketed.
No, I believe that's just for the lot itself,
Okay.
just for parking.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
think. tickets.
because I have an issue with how people are ticketed, and I think it's very predatory, and I think we need to do something about that, because I do have an issue with that. So this is kind of a bigger issue, to Councilor Bennett's point, of looking at kind of our lots and seeing kind of what's happening here. We do have stickers for Beagle Club Road. I don't know if you're familiar with the long kind of issue we have that. And I'm concerned that we have two different systems now, because now this is going to be administered through the Attleboro Public Library, and there's going to be stickers, which is similar to Beagle Club Road. So I would just like them to be maybe consistent in some way. I don't know if we can look at that and see Because it doesn't make sense for us to have all these different lots and areas of the city that we're having different systems to utilize, basically, so that's my only concern. Are you familiar with the vehicle code?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what those passes look like at this point. I mean, I'm familiar with the issue for sure, and I think there's a way that we can build some consistency there. I mean, I think the main thing was making sure that the parking office was on board with, or at least generally aware of this proposal, which they are. I had a conversation with Ms. Rigo, but. They have no, as long as they're made aware of how that process works and the stickers so they can be able to identify them in the lot, I think that's the only real concern there. But to your point, having some consistency across the board is hopefully something that we can work out practically.
Thank you. And then because you made the change free or partially discounted, what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so the idea behind that is that allows us to evaluate whether we want to have the full waiver for any given year, or we want to partially reduce the rate, or enforce the full rate. So it gives us the discretion anywhere along that spectrum.
That concludes. Thank you.
Yes, Councilor Dillon.
Thanks. So two things. On Council Holmes' point, where it says free or partially discounted, are we going to make that decision when we vote on it for full council? On what we're going to do for this upcoming year?
You're saying for this particular...
Right, so if we have to vote on this every year, I assume we have to add some type of language that this year, for fiscal year, we want it to be 50% off, or we want it to be a full waiver. So I assume we have to make that decision and amend it, or do something to that effect? I'm just confused by this language that I understand for the future, so if we decide to change it in some way, which I think we could amend it the next time we vote on it. So I'm just wondering how we're going to word this when we vote on it now.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And I think, so maybe to be consistent, I think with the date even in section 4 there, that makes this effective as of the beginning of the next fiscal year, that maybe we can track that as well. So maybe by the last day in June or something like that. That's actually a really good point. Because you're talking about even for this upcoming fiscal year, correct?
Yeah, when we vote this and it's, effective July 1st,
Yeah.
we need to know, is it going to be a full waiver or partially discounted? I vote for the full waiver. That's what I would prefer to have. So I don't know what we need to do here to make it make sense. And the second thing is, I know I had discussed with you a long time ago, I might have mentioned it to you. The handicap spots on the front of the North Main lot aren't utilized. Not like they were when that entrance to the Y was open. And technically, we have more handicap spots than necessary, and they're really not utilized. So I spoke to Bill McDonough about it, and we could probably eliminate several of those, and I can't think of the number off the top of my head, how many there and how many are required. But since the Y stopped using that front entrance, it's really not utilized. So that's a thought there, but that's all.
No, thank you. Yeah, and hopefully we can maybe grab a few more of those spots.
I think at least 3 might be available.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Delicio's got his hand up.
Yes.
Thank you, Jonathan. So nice work on this. I think a lot of collaboration went in on this. The first thing, I don't want to lose track of the fact that we're still talking about the amendment first, because then we'll have to vote on the amendment. Then if the amendment goes through, we vote on it as amended. I agree with Councilor Dolan. I think once we get to the point where the amendment's accepted, we should have the discussion tonight, or at least next week, on whether it's going to be partially discounted or free, because we want to make sure that we have this as buttoned up as we can. As far as the handicap spots are concerned, I think having the conversation with Bill McDonough makes sense. I think out of courtesy, probably even have the conversation with the Commission on Disabilities to get their feedback on that too, because I think there are other groups that use it. I know the Masons, when they have events, they might use some of those spots. I think Attleboro Community Theater might be using some of those spots. So just something to think about as well. But my suggestion, take it or leave it as chair, is let's vote the amendment, and then we decide what we want to do for next week. We can amend it tonight or amend it on the floor to figure out the free or partially discounted.
Yes, Councilor Waterman.
To the point that you just brought in about the Masons, I can't speak to the Masons, but from Attleboro Community Theater's perspective, they come in the evenings.
Yep.
So I don't think there's a problem there. So Amy spoke with me maybe 10 days ago, and I didn't ask the question. She informed me that the seniors, there's a large amount of seniors, in her opinion, that just stay away from the library all day long until 5 o'clock shows. And that's why I would want a full waiver. And so I just wanted that to be out there. If they have to pay anything at all, that still will keep people away.
Councilor Holmes.
Thank you. I agree. Full waiver. For seniors, I think it's going to be a logistical nightmare if we have to do this every. It's possible, but I just think it's going to be more challenging, and I think it's something that we value, and we could always change the ordinance if there was something that we saw 5 years down the road that there was some reason we needed to kind of make an adjustment here, but I would be open to that. I'm just thinking about even if it was partial, so, and it's administered through the public library, are they going to collect the, I don't know, like, I just feel like this is getting, whereas if we just kind of say that you will be provided a sticker and it will streamline it a little bit, and as long as it's cohesive with the other sticker programs we have for lots in the city, I'm comfortable with that. That concludes my comments. Thank you.
Councilor Bennett.
I agree with Councilor Holmes. I don't think the intent was to discount this, and that's a great point about who's going to be collecting the funds and how do we account for those funds. I think that adds an administrative nightmare to this whole equation. And I also wanted to raise that the way this is written right now, the section 4, or the subparagraph 4, says this section, meaning the entire section, shall not take effect until, and if we're saying July 1st, 2024, the problem with that is that our ability to then vote on this for the upcoming year would not yet be in effect until after July of 2024. So I may want to look at this language too and revise this. Maybe instead of saying this section shall not take effect, that maybe the section can take effect immediately, and then we can vote to approve it for fiscal year 25. So it will go into effect July 1st of 2024. Maybe saying something to the effect of this, take effect immediately, and then we can vote the rate to be effective July 1st of 2024. Because what I don't want to see is the council, tying their own hands and not being able to even vote for the rate until after July 1st, which means we're pushing it to July 1st of 2025.
Point. I will say I'm in favor of a total waiver as well. So the intention behind this was, at least personally me, was not to create a situation where we're changing the rate or we're causing any confusion there, but really more as a responsible measure to be able to address any potential financial impact in the future. But again, my personal opinion is that I think this is really a drop in the bucket. So we should just provide the full waiver, and I would actually be in favor of passing it as is if there's enough support from the council. But I simply changed those two sections to be able, again, to account for councilors who may have some reservations on the financial impact of this. Councilor Dolan.
Sorry, I don't mean to drag this out. I'm just not clear on what Councilor Bennett was saying. Because we vote on ordinances that take effect at a later point.
Yes.
So if you could, so let's say we were to vote on this tonight. We would if we, well, obviously it's your committee and I'm not on it, so if you guys were to vote on this tonight and say it was just a full waiver, free parking for the seniors, and then if you decided to start it on July 1st,
No problem there. There's no issue with that. It's if we're going to do a partial rate and then vote a
all right.
rate.
I don't know
That's
if
when
I
it would be a
missed what
problem.
you said. I
If we leave it
apologize.
as is, yeah, as
I
amended.
got you. All right. So if it's a full waiver, we're good to go, effective. Okay, I wasn't clear on what you said.
Yep.
So, again, I know I'm not on your committee, but if you guys amended it to be free, and so I completely support it, so, thank you.
All right, so there's a lot going on. So just a question for you. So I think it was either Council Holmes or Council Bennett alluded to it. The word can be, shall take effect upon passage. We've done that a million times. Way here, we're not boxed in with the date that caused from it. You said you were fine with it as is, Councilor Tavares. So does that mean that you would have Council Holmes remove the second to the amendment, take the amendment off the table, and then just go to as it's presented currently?
That's kind of where I was going with this.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
And then one thing that I would ask you to think about between now and next week, if you do that, I do like the subject to the annual approval, because I think it keeps it there, but it's a nice to have, not a need to have, because as we've said 800 million times, and this could be the last time you hear this, councilors, is it's the revised ordinances of the city of Attleboro for a reason. Nothing is ever set in stone. So if we decide that it's not working out the way it is, we can take a look at it next year too. But I think this is something that's revolutionary. It's something a little different, to Council Holmes' point about Beagle Club and the different lots. But I do still have that same concern about the library, who's understaffed, always understaffed through no fault of their own. You know, the more complexity we add to it, the more administrative tasks we're adding to a heck of a team that's already stretched thin. So I think the path of least resistance, in my mind, is what you were suggesting about removing the amendment and moving forward with as is.
Thank you for that. Councilor Bennett.
I fully approve, I fully support moving forward with it as written, even with the in effect July 1st, 2024. I'd be okay with it taking effect immediately. I have no problem with that. I think it becomes too much of a burden to have this another thing that the council has to vote every year. It's easy to miss this. It's complicated for the residents to have to, keep an eye on that and know where it stands. I think it's much simpler the way it was originally drafted, and I'm in support of it as it is.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Holmes, would you be willing to remove your second?
I would.
Yes. So with that being said, I think we may still need to entertain another amendment just to change the date as it's written in the committee minutes, and I'm okay with it taking effect immediately, and just moving forward on this. I don't see any issues with that, at least from my perspective. So, yes.
I do think that July 1st, because our budget director mentioned that, and then it would just give them, or, I know we said April, it would just give a few months to kind of organize it, but I'm okay either way. I can close my eyes.
Yes.
So to Council Holmes' point, the budget's cooked through June 30th. So I think that changing it from 2023 to July 1st, 2024, it's another mechanism which allows, and even though it is, I think, $14,000, $18,000, it's not going to break the city, but it's still $14,000 to $18,000 that may not be coming in. So we'll have to kind of pivot and see where we can make that up. So I agree with Council Holmes.
Yes, Councilor.
Just to clarify, the 14 to 18,000, is that not the revenue for the entire lot for the year, or is that the revenue that this would? Is this the impact of allowing seniors? I don't know that we have enough data to really calculate.
Yeah, no, that's the revenue for this entire lot. So
Okay.
we don't
So I
have that
misunderstood
breakdown.
that.
Okay,
But-
thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sorry if I wasn't clear on that. So then what I'd like to do is propose an amendment to the motion, to amend section 4 to read, "This section shall not take effect until July 1st, 2024.
Second.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions, concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
The amendment passes.
Yes, the amendment passes. And now for the motion as amended, are there any questions, comments, concerns there? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. That concludes the business of ordinances, elections, and legislative matters. I move to adjourn at 8 o'clock.
Second?
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 8 o'clock. Thank you.
Public Safety Emergency Management is canceled this evening.
I'd like to call a special committee on tax abatement review to order at 8 o'clock. Sitting on this committee are Councilors Tavares and Councilor Bennett. And I have one measure to bring before you this evening. It is from the docket of December 5th, 2023. I entertain a motion to, as allowed by Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5K, to adopt the new senior tax abatement program rules.
Second.
Thank you. We're not going to read the rules because they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages long. The short strokes of it are that this is a program that allows persons over 65 that own property in the city to work off 150 individuals over 65 that own property in Attleboro to work for the city part-time to be able to take $1,000 off of their real estate taxes. There's a lot of confusion between the senior tax abatement program and the senior tax exemption program. They're two different programs. This is a very popular program in the city of Attleboro, and it's been popular for a very long time. It was so popular we had to increase it from 120 to 150 in 2000 and over the age of 60. Thank you. We had to increase it from 120 to 150 back in 2019. There's a large population in the city of Attleboro over 60 years old, and anyone can take advantage of this program. So it's also a boon to the administration that can wind up with some very talented people to help them out in times when they really need the help. And it has my complete support. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Hearing none, the motion's in order. Whoop. Yes, Councilor
An
Dilger.
appropriate swan song for you, sir. I think for this to be your last piece of business is appropriate. So thank you for your years of advocacy for the seniors. I don't think it's gone unnoticed. So this is appropriate to be your last measure you bring out of this committee.
If I knew you were going to say that, I wouldn't have given you the floor.
You never know. You never know what people are going to say.
So now the motion's in order. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. That concludes the business that the special committee tax abatement review has for this evening. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I declare the the special committee for tax abatement review adjourned at 8:03. Thank you.
Special Committee on Classification and Compensation is canceled, and we call for a meeting at the next appropriate time.
That's it. Nice work, everyone.